Welcome to Entrepreneur Interview Series today. This is the first episode of our series, and I'm very honored to invite my old friend, Chen Wen. And he has recently started his entrepreneurial journey. Can Chen Wen introduce himself? Okay, hello everyone, my name is Chen Wen. Chang is the Chang of milestone, and Wen is the Wen in Wenyi. My hometown is Wuhan, Hebei province, but I went to Guangzhou when I was very young. Because it was the early days of reform and opening up, a man drew a circle in the South China Sea, so my family moved from Wuhan to Zhuhai. And then, after arriving in Zhuhai, actually, I was just a normal kid. I went to primary school, junior high school, and then finally, university. I went to a university in Guangzhou. When I was in college, I actually studied biology. At that time, I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do. I heard that the 21st century was the century of life sciences. But later, I found maybe in the late 21st century, before we can enter the century of life science. So, after I went abroad, at first, I still took the exam for a biology doctorate. But after 1 year of studying for a biology doctorate, I switched to statistics. So, after 5 years of studying for a PhD in statistics, I joined several banks first. First, I worked at Wells Fargo and then to Bank of America. And recently, I've been in New York. I work for a hedge fund in New York to build their mortgage-backed securities. It's a bit tongue-twisting in Chinese, which is called mortgage-backed security, to build the quantitative platform for quantitative trading. And then, so in the past 10 years, in Chinese, I've been a miner for 10 years. Analyst. And that's more or less it. Well, thank you. Actually, we have known each other but for today, a long time. I just you also study biology. So our experiences are very similar in biology, and then changed careers when we study PhD and then we both worked in the financial industry. Maybe what you're most interested in. Maybe your recent work experience. For example, you are still people will think it's a relatively glamorous career. How did you decide to leave such a stable and high-paying job and then start my own business? Well, it was probably at the beginning of this year. I've been working as a After being absent from work, I found that my enthusiasm for coding was fading away. And then, it happened to be, you remember it clearly. It was in February this year. I was with a good friend named Wu Gongting. Gongting, remember to pay me the advertising for you again. I went skiing with Gongjin. After skiing, and we found a Korean restaurant for dinner. And then during the meal, I asked Gongjin what he was up to recently, and he told me that he said he and some friends bought a medical building. I was shocked when I heard that, because, according to my previous understanding, I thought that buying a commercial building, it seemed that it must be a real estate company or a very wealthy individual to do such a thing. Then I said, Gongdian, are you so rich? Then he told me, no, that I raised money with several friends. Then he told me how they found the target and how they negotiated the price with several friends. This medical building, it was initially priced at 6 million yuan, and then they bargained for over a year, from 6 million to 4 million, so they saved 2 million yuan. When I heard his case, I felt very encouraged. Because, and my partner also does more than BS. But he is in another hedge pod. On a hedge fund called Point72, he is the only one in their hedge fund. The only one doing mortgages. I am the only one in our hedge fund. The only one doing mortgage. So our backgrounds are very similar. Then I heard that he could do such a thing. I thought I could at least give it a try. However, I was doing exactly the same thing as Gongting. So I listened to a lot of lectures during that time, and I found that there are many investments in commercial real estate. The categories of investment, such as the most traditional, you can buy multi-unit apartments, and you can buy various kinds of properties, like warehouses, especially warehouses. In recent years, due to the pandemic, are very popular. Online, There is a lot of online trade, so warehouses are very popular. And you can buy land directly. Then, I listened to many lectures, but none of them really appealed to me. Then, around April or May this year, I heard about a person named Alex, who is an economics professor, and now Alex is one of my partners. And then Alex, he said, he used some very high-sounding words, like arbitrage. How to arbitrage between two commercial real estate categories. To do arbitrage, how to generate your own alpha. Alpha, those who have worked in finance. People in finance all know that. These words are very attractive in finance. Attractive words. And I heard that. I was interested in what he said, which was the concept of hotel to apartment conversion. Basically, is to buy a hotel at a relatively cheap price, and then, after a series of operations, and then sell it at this price. When I heard this concept, I thought it was very attractive. Then, after listening to his lecture, I emailed him, and I contacted him, and then, it was probably in April or May this year. And then, since then, I have kept a very close contact with him. We attended many real estate conferences together. Real estate conferences, including field visits to the hotel. After knowing Alex for about 2 or 3 months, I told the hedge fund I was working for at the time. I proposed. I said, I think I wanted to take a part-time job. Because I hadn't really thought it through myself. As you said, that is to say, you gave up. At least it seemed to be a relatively high-paying, stable job. To do such a commercial real estate was a big rush. So I initially thought that I would work part-time for a period of time. I had the courage to do it. It was half-time because I was the only one in our company, backed securities, and at that time, this platform, I was the only one. I wrote more than 95% of the code, and at that time, I could be easily replaced. So at that time, based on this, I had the confidence to propose to the company I would take a 3-month part-time job. And about a month into my part-time job, I actually felt at that time, that is to say, if I were to engage in commercial real estate, I had to devote myself full-time, because it really requires a lot of your time, energy, and other aspects. It consumes a lot of time, if I were only part-time, and other resources. I wasn't confident that I could do it well. And then, part-time work is actually not fair to my company. It's not fair to the company. It's like I'm only investing half of myself. So, I faced a choice. I either quit the commercial real estate business, or I would devote myself to it full-time. So, based on this consideration, and there was some opportunity, I just quit my job around. At the end of July, I resigned. So, it's such a long story. I'm going to tell you why I left the real estate investment fund industry and then do what I'm doing now. Hotel to apartment. Yeah, thank you very much for the detailed explanation. You said courtier. Actually, it's small world. I should have been colleagues with him at Farnlandman. Haha. Really? Personally, I have a lot of confidence in our strategy. Because of it, the logic of making money is very clear, and it is more resistant to this economic cycle. The economic cycle. So personally, I prefer our strategy. So, yes. So I didn't do the construction side. But everyone has their own preferences. There are many asset classes that can be invested in. Everyone finds their own suitable and interested in is the best. Yes, okay. Now we can naturally move on to the next topic. Yes. Can you expand on this monkey jumping? Their conversion. What kind of business is it? What's the logic behind it? And how to make money? Yes, it's the conversion from hotel to apartment. First, let's talk about what is the end product of this. Its end product is an apartment. It's not sold one by one. It is a whole when you make it. For example, if there are 100 units, when I sell them all together. Why do we like this terminal product? Firstly, it is very resistant to cycles. Because whether the economy is good or the economy is bad, then the tenants, they all need a place to live. So, in our domestic words, it is a necessary demand. Another reason is that apartments, it has a great advantage in terms of loans, because it has government policy support. Among all commercial loans, apartments can get the best interest rate and the longest. This is called the loan term. Some apartment loans can get a fixed interest rate of 30 or 40 years. This type of loan. In other commercial real estate categories, is almost non-existent. When we convert hotels to apartments, we are converting into affordable apartments. What we convert is not luxury apartments. Well, this type of apartment, the tenants we target is mainly the blue-collar workers. This group has a very large number of people, which means they have many demands. But relatively speaking, this group can live in this kind of apartment. The supply of apartments is not that much. There is a gap. The reason is that all the apartment supply is actually cyclical. The supply of apartments, when the supply is at its peak, it's easy to cause. That is, due to excessive causing supply, the decline in the price and rent of apartments. For us, for the new apartment supply, are usually luxury apartments. There are 4 categories of apartments. Generally, there are 4 categories, B, C, and D, which we usually call luxurious apartments. Class C is what we call affordable apartments. New apartments are usually luxurious apartments, because recently, whether it's inflation, labor costs, and land prices to build an apartment, the fixed costs are already very high for builders and developers. Naturally, they want to build luxury apartments because its fixed costs are already high. Building a new affordable apartment, it's not cost-effective for them. It may not even make a profit. Basically, there are no new affordable apartments. So, we can just fill the gap in the market. The gap. That's right. Why do we say that? The terminal product we choose. So, why we choose apartments? Why did we switch from hotels to apartments? Well, that's because, from a physical structure. From the physical structure, it is closest to apartments. Because hotels, every room has a toilet. Some hotels even have kitchens. For us, when we are renovating the infrastructure, when we are renovating it physically, when we renovate it, the amount of work may be very small, especially for those with kitchens. Hotel, which is called extended stay. It may be called a long-term rental type hotel. So, the similarity in physical structure, which can greatly reduce the risks in our construction. Another thing is that many hotels have very good locations. The locations are divided into several types. One is the airport. Airports are not considered, which is too noisy. One is the highway. Highways, it depends on the situation. It depends. There is another one. In a commercial downtown area, such hotels are generally for business travelers. This kind of hotel is our most ideal choice, which can be converted from a hotel to an apartment. First, it's convenient for transportation. Shopping. It's convenient. This is, its location is good. This is its second major advantage. In addition to its physical structure similarity, good location, and the most important thing is to say that for hotels, this one we can usually, especially a hotel with poor operation, we can buy it at a very low price. This is actually the most important part, because investment is risky. So how to reduce your risk? The cheaper you buy, the lower the risk. Basically, if you buy it cheap enough, It's hard for you to lose money. You will just not make money. If you want to lose money, it's still quite difficult. Well, we just explained why it's an apartment. Why it is an apartment. How to convert a hotel into an apartment. How to convert it. It's divided into 2 steps. Of course, it's not as simple as opening the refrigerator. It's divided into 2 steps. The first step is it's a physical transformation. The physical transformation, which is divided into 2 steps. One is the most common one. That is, when you buy any building, you have to do a basic renovation to it. Basic renovation. For example, if you directly buy a multi-unit apartment, you need to do some basic renovations. You need to renovate the exterior walls and paint it. You need to paint the cabinets, change the carpet, and replace the one in the kitchen, the countertop in the kitchen. These are some basic renovations. For the conversion from hotel to apartment, we also need to do some extra work, which are specifically required for hotels. One is, the most important one is, we need to install a fire protection system. This is the most important. Many novices, they think it's easy to convert a hotel into an apartment. We recently have an investment target. A little bit off topic. We recently have an investment target, which is a hotel converted into an apartment. Such a team. They spent about 7 million to buy the hotel, and 2 million for decoration. And they didn't spend the 2 million on. Didn't install the fire protection system. The fire system that was not in the United States is not in line with the building standards for multi-unit buildings. So, because they have spent all the renovation money to a broken capital chain, but they can't get a building permit for a multi-unit apartment, so their project is stuck. So they are now looking for buyers. At this time, we can buy it, and buy it at a relatively low price for their investors. It's very regrettable for our investors. It's a very good news for our investors. So, the threshold for converting a hotel into an apartment is high, but they thought they could just come in and do it. In many cases, the project will fail. Let's digress a little bit. Let's go back to the hotel to apartment conversion. One is physical conversion, and the other is what I just mentioned. And the other is, if there is no kitchen, you must install a kitchen. Then, these two are actually the 2 biggest money sinks. And then, usually, if you install a kitchen, you may need to upgrade your electrical system. Because if a hotel doesn't have a kitchen, it means that its electrical system may not meet. It may not meet the standard. Yes. For example, if you need an oven, the oven requires 220 volts. The existing hotels, the capacitor may not meet the standard. Upgrading the circuit will also cost a lot of money. These are all, if you are a layman, you won't know how to do it. This is the physical level. On the physical level, after that, the most important thing we need to do a financial transformation. The financial level is transformation to truly convert it from a hotel valuation to a multi-unit apartment. Here, we need to answer why. You can buy a hotel at a relatively cheap price, but after it becomes a multi-unit apartment, it can be sold at a higher price. Here are some basic concepts of commercial real estate. That is to say, it has a concept called multiple in English. Let me give you an example. We have 2 projects in Houston. One of our projects costs $3.5 million. The decoration cost is about $2 million. Anyway, the total price, including the decoration cost, is less than $6 million. But our pre-estimated value is $16 million. Here you can see that is, we just did such a conversion. A conversion above, the valuation of it has changed from a hotel worth over 3 million yuan to 16 million, over 16 million, to a multi-unit apartment. The power of its product multiple. To turn its product multiple into a multi-unit apartment, what you need to do is you need to turn your short-term hotel tenants into apartment tenants. A long-term and stable tenant. Because why? Its cash flow is relatively high. The essential reason is that as investors like stable cash flow, The cash flow of apartments is much more stable than because hotel guests are all short-term, right? Staying for 1 or 2 days. Or maybe a month at most. They are all short-term guests, and hotels themselves are not not a necessity. They are usually for tourism or business travel. It is equivalent to something that is necessary. For example, in tourism, there are also off-peak and peak seasons for tourism. Overall, its cash flow is stable. It has very high requirements for human resources. For example, the pricing of your hotel can have many prices every day, but the pricing of apartments is very simple. You may have a long time. There is a very stable price. So, for various reasons, the pricing of cash flow is relatively high. This is also the underlying logic of I'm making money. So, this is why I especially like when everyone invests. For example, me. If I buy stocks myself, I buy the market index. Because the market index, I can make a little profit. If the market falls, you will lose a little. But I don't actually know why the market goes up. I don't know why it goes up either. Or the market falls. The underlying logic. I don't really understand the underlying logic. But for this, its underlying logic is very clear. The multiple of their cash flow product. The difference in the multiple of the product is always there. So, this is why I like this hotel to apartment. So, probably, I actually recorded one myself on YouTube. You recorded a video. If you want to advertise yourself, if you want to watch it, you can take a look. I won't expand on this here. But if you are interested, you can search for this. North American hotel to apartment. Now, there are people who specialize in converting hotels. I don't know if anyone else is doing it, so if you search for it, it should be. Only my video should pop up. Ha ha ha. Okay. We will also put Chen Wen's YouTube channel link at the bottom of this video.